How was it, Eric? Not very good. How was it for you?
Not absolutely perfect all the way through.
Once more, please.
John Huston filmed The Man Who Would Be King in Morocco. It's based on Rudyard Kipling's story of two British adventurers who take over a country. Sean Connery is the man who actually becomes king.
This looks kind of strange that if they get in and then they turn around to shoot, we come in and we leave them, the camera goes with us, and it looks as though we might be shooting them.
His ally and co-conspirator is Michael Caine.
Well, let's do the same thing as come back up through them again.
Yeah.
What's that?
Do you want us to come back up through them again?
I think so, because on the other one we left you to send. Everyone got by and you were the last two, so you're not...
But what attracted the actors to the picture?
First and foremost, to work with Huston. I wanted to work with Huston. I've always been a great admirer of his. Also, of course, the part is marvellous. It's a fabulous part to play. And it's the type of film I wanted to be in. And I think it's the type of film we basically should be making, instead of kind of competing with Kojak or something, which people can see for nothing. You know, you've got to make, this is what I call a movie.
I mean, I think it's a superb script from many levels. It's very pleasurable dialogue and satisfying to people who like words, and there's humor, and there's the scale, size, you know, a couple of thousand armies, and there's action, and in many different locations throughout this country in particular. Shot no good then?
Well, the mules don't go over the side. If that's what we're trying to do, nothing happens with the mules. Not a goddamn thing happens with the mules.
Jim, you put them in a spot, I can get them entangled quicker than anybody. Any horse.
Because they were all on the flat.
I'll mess it up for you.
Kind of high.
John Huston had been planning this film for a very long time. His original idea was to have Clark Gable and Humphrey Bogart in the starring roles, but Bogart's death in 1957 brought the project to a temporary halt.
If they're that far back, there are not all these many people right up here, you see.
Nearly 20 years later, Huston at last found the stars to replace Bogey and Gable.
In this picture, there's a minimum direction. Sean Connery and Michael Caine. They are the roles.
The two parts are, I think, almost one person, actually.
There is a tremendous relationship in the movie between Dravot, which is Sean Connery, and Carnahan, which is myself.
See, when you read the short story, the thing that comes across, it's only 22 pages. What comes across is they've interchanged, lifted, I think 50% of the dialogue is Kipling. Very difficult stuff to learn. Phraseology is quite different from, you know, modern metaphors. And Michael can take, he has parts that, in the short story of the dialogue, that Dravot has in the film. And yet it's still workable.
It's a film that only really works on the screen, and there's no point in doing it for television, and there's no money to do it for television. It has to work on a big screen, and you have to go and see it on a big screen.
The Man Who Would Be King is a big film in the sense that it has a large cast, it's full of action, and it has spectacular locations. Kipling's story was set in northern India, but the filming was done in Morocco because it was more convenient, and anyway the landscape looked right. The biggest set was built in the Moroccan hills, an entire city in an odd architectural style that mixed the primitive East with the classical Greek. It represents the Asian capital, which, according to legend, was established by Alexander the Great. Producer John Foreman explains.
Several months ago, before we started, I read in the New York Times that a French crew of archaeologists had indeed discovered the legendary city of Alexander the Great in Afghanistan, which is, of course, the city referred to by Kipling in his story, The Man Who Would Be King, that it actually existed. Now, I've never seen photographs of what it is they found, but it is a known fact that Alexander conquered all the way to Afghanistan before returning back to Greece. It was this information that caused, and the fact that Alexander was a Mason, that caused Kipling to write the story.
Incidentally, it was Foreman who eventually persuaded John Huston to make the picture.
He saw this quite impressive body of work and said, for God's sake, let's try once more.
Right, let's get everybody ready on this. We'll have a go.
Go again.
Somewhere south of Marrakesh, there stands an ancient city. In Marrakesh, they say it is a magic city. In Marrakesh, which is the magic city of Morocco. The magic here in the foothills of the Atlas Mountains is a different magic, a modern magic. On this ancient hilltop, there is now a city that is not a city but an illusion, a place of make-believe, a place for a movie. The filming of Rudyard Kipling's The Man Who Would Be King.
All right, as close as you can reasonably hold the two men.
To the thousands of Moroccans who are taking part, it is an inexplicable mystery, a true magic. Few of them, if any, have ever seen a movie.
It's very good looking.
Yes. But for director John Huston and producer John Foreman, it is magic of another kind.
A magic that Kipling evokes. It exists on various levels. There's an element of mystery about it. It's told under circumstances that are strange and beautiful. So almost 20 years that I've been trying to make this film. Originally, it was intended that Clark Gable and Humphrey Bogart play the parts that Sean Connery and Michael Caine are doing now. Connery and Caine are ideal.
Detriments, you call us? Detriments? Well, I want to remind you it was detriments like us that built this bloody empire, and he is out of the bloody Raj. That's on. About turn. By the left, quick march.
I play an English sergeant who is a sort of renegade from the British Army in India about 1880, and he and his friend Dravid, who's played by Sean Connery, go up into the hills of Afghanistan to find the legendary city of Alexander the Great, which is called Kafiristan.
They're like con men in a way. Decide that they'll come up to Kafiristan, which means the country of no gods, and they'll, with their army training, teach them and usurp the king, and they will become kings, and with all the money they make, go back to England.
Look at the size of that ruby.
There's a bigger one. Right, Danny. We only have to fill our pockets and walk out of it to be millionaires.
The basic difference between the two is that when they get to Kafiristan, Sekandagal, and they accomplish what they set out to do, Peachy, it's Michael Caine, wants to follow the plan through to its conclusion, which is to rob them 4 ways from Sunday, as the term goes, and Dravid feels no, that more than mere chance has been at work, and it's actually destiny, and he is really a king.
The head priest of this city, when our fellows arrived, is named Kafuzalam. The man that was selected to play Kafuzalam happened to be working as a night watchman at an olive grove where we shot certain sequences of the picture.
Oh, he's a wonderful old chap, actually.
He was very lively and intelligent, delightful.
He got into the swing of things very quickly.
Reported to be 100 years old.
101 by the time the picture's released.
He was very tired the first 2 or 3 days.
That when he finished the day's work here,
But he was going back to the villa, being night watchman at night.
Nobody told him that he didn't have to be the night watchman.
Over 100 years old, he wasn't getting any sleep at all.
Stay quiet.
Bring this rifleman down. The one that's the closest to camera. Bring him down.
Arm it.
When he says retiring sections, they're in the picture.
Yes, they are.
Are they or not?
Yes, because they go back.
Let me see them in the picture. All right, now. Here we are. Now, hold it there. Hold it. Now, Mike. Now, that, if you enter fairly close to camera, Mike, it's all right, too.
Lead will give them.
Right.
Riflemen, prepare to advance.
That's what it should be at the finish. Yes. It should be that way.
Silence!
Action.
Riflemen, prepare to advance. There's too many for that, Danny. Retire in sections.
Retire? Retire be damned.
We gotta make a run for it. Front section. Fire! Back! Front section.
In one of the film's major battle scenes, Connery and Caine retreat from the Holy City and toward one of the most difficult and dangerous sequences ever staged for the motion picture cameras.
We have 2 pages of dialogue while the crowd is silent round us. And they've got to stop an appreciable distance away from us before they walk in and get us. So I'm going to go bang.
And I'm out.
Yes.
I didn't go bang.
And then we're at the bridge. Woohoo!
That's the next shot.
As you get out to the important part, I'll have to take the top rail.
Just 1 foot will be stationary like this. You probably step back like that and go. Trick this, and you just pitch forward into a regular somersault.
The left-hand railing, as it were, will fall. And the bottom of the bridge at that time, this is the railing. The railing falls and the bridge goes like this, out from under him. He falls into a catcher, which is about 75, 80 feet below the bridge.
Jim Arnett, once a stuntman himself, will personally supervise this sequence.
You see the platform down there that they're working on. That's upon which we'll place a catcher, which is constructed out of cardboard boxes.
Dick, you got your number 38 somewhere, the red 38.
Covered by overlapping layers of foam rubber, the catcher will compress upon impact. And from this height, the speed at impact will exceed 65 miles an hour.
Well, there's a lot of things working here that make it kind of critical. This wind will blow us back into that bank. A little movement at the beginning of a fall can catapult you clear out of your target area.
I think this is the delivery, don't you? We see them rock here, and then him walk out.
It just seems more tilted to the right than it was the other day.
On this side, yes.
Yeah.
You're viewing it from a more personal
Absolutely,
view.
John. Having taken a little...
You're really examining it this time.
Yeah.
What would Kirk Douglas do?
Victor mature. What was my criterion is Victor mature.
Victor mature.
I have extreme vertigo myself, so I admire everybody's movements, and I intend to stay way back.
Right, gentlemen, can everybody fall back behind us, please, and let us get some idea of a setup? Can everybody come this way? We'll look in there.
Anybody cross the back now to stop anybody from coming over, like these guys?
The highest fall I've ever seen.
The bridge, beneath its primitive appearance, is a work of precision engineering. 6 weeks were spent building it toward this one moment.
On whom the Spirit came, 12 valiant saints their hopes they knew, and mocked the cross and flame. He met the tyrant's brandished steel, the lion's gory mane.
It's all yours.
That's one of the damnedest things I've ever seen.
Beautiful. Yeah, marvelous. Walking straight out of it.
Great, just marvelous in every way. Glad it's over.
As far as Huston's concerned, the story is a celebration of the human spirit, the pitfalls it's subject to, and the glory that is possible.
High adventure, not just simply hairbreadth escapes, but very high adventure indeed. I mean, the adventure of the spirit.
And all of it stems from this aura that Huston projects as an individual and as a man.
Welcome, my friends, to India and Afghanistan and Kafirstan. Kafirstan, the remotest place on earth where only Alexander the Great has been before you. With the help of Michael Caine and Sean Connery and Christopher Plummer, we are doing all in our power to tell this wild, funny, and bizarre tale. The man who would be king.
And now, sir, let me introduce you to Brother Peachy Carnahan, which is him, and Brother Daniel Dravert, which is I. We've been all over India. We know her cities, her jungles, her jails, and her palaces. And we have decided that she isn't big enough for such as we.
Therefore, we are going away to another place, where a man isn't crowded and can come into his own. We're not little men. Detriments, you call us? Detriments? Well, I want to remind you it was detriments like us that built this bloody empire, and he is out of the bloody Raj. Hands on. About turn. Line of there. Quick, march. There.
The year is 1885. Not that that matters. For in Kafirstan, time is without beginning or end. It is timeless as Rudyard Kipling's story, The Man Who Would Be King. Look at the size of that ruby.
There's a bigger one. Every time, we gotta make a run for it.
Sean Connery, Michael
Michael Caine and Christopher Plummer in John Huston's The Man Who Would Be King.